Hello everyone. Let us begin today's period with this thought. Life always offers you a second chance. It's called tomorrow. Students, we have begun with the lesson agriculture. In that we have seen various type of agriculture, various type of occupation which comes under agriculture. Then animal husbandry, there was dairy farming, sheep and goat rearing. We have seen poultry, beekeeping, pisciculture, sericulture, and nursery. We have also seen what is greenhouse farming. Now let us move further. Page number 55. Types of farming. Now different types of agriculture have evolved due to geographical and cultural diversity and technological differences in different regions. The type of farming depends upon the purpose and aims of method of farming, the crops being cultivated, the techniques used, land use, etc. Broadly, the following type of agriculture can be identified. So, let us see the different types of farming. Now, types of farming: subsistence farming and commercial farming. These are the basic two types. Subsistence means traditional. Traditional means which was carried out from many years, the old ways, and commercial farming. And in subsistence farming, we have intensive farming and shift cultivation. And under commercial farming, we have extensive grain farming, plantation farming, market gardening, and horticulture. So let us see all these in detail. Here, subsistence farming, you can write the traditional. Intensive farming. Getting maximum production from minimum area is the characteristic of intensive farming. Due to large population or limited availability of land, per head holding is small. This type of farming is mostly seen in developing regions. Farm product is sufficient only for the requirement of family. In this type of farming, the cultivator and his family are totally dependent on farming. The farm production is low. The economic condition of the cultivator is also poor. So, intensive farming, here, intensive farming and shift cultivation are the two types of subsistence farming. Intensive farming is carried out on one and the same land for years together. And cultivation, shift cultivation, the word shift itself tells us that every year a new area is chosen for cultivation after a specific period of time. Old areas again used for cultivation. So in this way, intensive farming, it is for getting maximum production in a small area, and a small piece of land belong to a family and they are cultivating it, and it can only fulfill their wants. So here the people who are doing intensive farming, basically they are poor, and everyone in this family is engaged in the same work. It is just to fulfill their requirement. त्यांचं स्वतःचं फॅमिलीपुरतं पोट भरण्यापुरता जेवढी जमीन आहे त्याच्यावर ते उगवतात. दॅट इज इंटेन्सिव्ह. नाव शिफ्ट कल्टिवेशन. Shifting cultivation is a primitive type of cultivation. In primitive period, in standard 5th, we have learnt that how once the agriculture, the procedure of growing crops was known to people, they started clearing the grounds for the same. And one after another, they were shifting from one place to another. They were doing agriculture cultivation at one place, then moving to the other place, clearing the ground. So that is the shift cultivation. It is a primitive type. This type of cultivation is practiced in the tropics of densely forested areas or hilly tracts. The farmer initially selects a piece of land in the forest. In order to make it cultivable, he clears the land by cutting down the trees, plants, removing the shrub and grass. That means clean the ground for cultivation. Once the cut trees dried out, he burns them. The leftover ash get mixed with the soil and acts as a manure because it is the natural product. Here plastic and other material which are not natural are not burned. Only the natural things they are burnt. That's why that ash it gets mixed in the soil and then it becomes a manure. Sowing and harvesting is done before the rainy season. The production obtained from this is not sufficient to fulfill the food requirement. Hence, people undertake hunting also, fishing, and gathering of bulbs and roots from the forest. In this type of farming, a fallow period is longer than the crop period. Fallow period means the period when nothing is grown. The land is kept as it is to regain its quality. So this fallow period is much bigger. That means there the ground is just plowed and kept as it is. It is not cultivated. After the productivity of the land depletes in 2 or 3 years, a different piece of land is selected for cultivation. So in this way, after the productivity of land depletes, that means reduces, becomes less, because after taking the cultivation we have seen that the nutrients are used by the crops. So the land productivity or nutrients they reduce. Depletes means reduce after 2 to 3 years. Then they will move to the other piece of land. Again they will clear the ground for cultivation. So in this way this is the shift cultivation. So intensive is a small piece of land which can fulfill only the requirement of family. On very small scale it is done. Shift cultivation again it can't fulfill the requirement, so they depend on other like hunting, fishing or food gathering, as well as the cultivation is shifted. They choose different areas. It is a type of primitive cultivation. This both comes under the subsistence farming. Now let us see commercial farming. Commercial farming. Extensive grain farming and plantation agriculture are the two major types of covered here under the commercial farming. Extensive grain farming. Now let us see what is extensive grain farming. Farm size is greater than 200 hectare. That means quite a big piece of land is there. Due to large farm size and sparse population in the region, this type of farming is carried out with the help of machines like tractors and crushers. Machines like tractors and crushers. So it is a very big piece of land and here the population is less. That means production cultivation is very much big. So to do the agriculture work, here the use of technology is there. In the picture 9.7 page number 56 you can see pesticides are sprayed with the help of helicopters and planes. So especially this extensive grain farming can be seen in developed countries. So these techniques, spraying of pesticide, using of tractors and machines like crusher, these are mostly used in the developed countries. There the size of land is very big. Monocrop, that means mono means one, single. Monocrop cultivation is the striking characteristic of this type of farming. The crop are wheat or corn. Beside these, barley, oats, soybean are also cultivated to some extent. Heavy capital investment is necessary for this type of farming. Since huge expenditure are needed for the purchase of machinery, fertilizer, pesticides, go downs, transport cost, etc. The problem in extensive grain farming are drought, attack of pests, locusts, etc. and market fluctuations. This type of farming is carried out in a temperate grassland region. So this is not carried out extensive grain farming in our country because here the farmers are poor, piece of land comparatively are smaller. Even if we have a big piece of land, we don't use technology up to much extent, again because of the investment, because they are not having that much money to invest. We are using only tractor or the other methods. Even fertilizers, use of fertilizer, insecticides, all these is done mechanically, manually. Then the basic problem with our farmers is money. So especially extensive grain farming we can see in the foreign countries. But when such a big land is under cultivation and such a big capital is invested, then there is a problem of drought, attack of pest or locusts. Locusts are the insects like grasshopper. Recently we have seen in lockdown last year, March April, that there was locust attack in the northern part of the country, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh. We have also seen. So these insects, they come in a huge group and they destroy the whole crop. So in this way, these are the most important things which are considered under extensive grain farming. Second, under commercial farming is plantation farming. Here farm size of plantation agriculture is 40 hectare and above. That means approximately what our people are having, the type of agriculture done in our country. As plantation agriculture is practiced in hilly tracts, use of machine is not possible and hence local manpower become important. So hilly tracts, so it won't be possible to carry big machineries on the hilltop. Again, it won't be convenient because the area is small here, so it is not possible to move these machines. So local people, they are engaged in the work, so they also get the jobs and the work is done by the people living there. The crop for which the geographical conditions are favorable is planted. This is a single crop cultivation practice too. So naturally whatever will grow, whatever conditions are favorable, accordingly they plant and they take the yields. This type of agriculture does not produce food grains. So here this type of agriculture don't produce the food grains like wheat, rice. Here only commercial crops. Commercial crops means tea, rubber, coffee, coconut, cocoa, spices are planted. So we have seen many times in books or even on television the plantation of coffee tree, cocoa beans. So all these are commercial crop because immediately we get the returns here and it is also on demand. Even the piece of land is small, there are good returns. This type of farming began and spread mostly during the colonial period, that is British period. It is practiced in the tropics. Tropics means Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn in our region. This type of farming requires large scale of capital investment due to the long duration of crops. Use of scientific methods, exportable production, processing, etc. So again it is costly because to grow and look after this plant requires investment. Climate, manpower, deterioration of environment, economics and managerial problems are the major issues faced by this type of agriculture. So climate, it varies. Again manpower, sometimes it is available, sometimes not, depending on the area where the agriculture is done. Sometimes the population is very scarce, so manpower is not available. Then environmental changes, pollution, all these are also the factor which are the major problems. Managerial problems means the management, the proper management is also one of the problem faced by this type of commercial plantation farming. This type of agriculture is practiced in India and South Asian countries like Africa, South and Central America, etc.